Hello everyone, my name's Ayisha. We're here today to talk about breast cancer. It is such an important topic to obviously talk about. It's the most commonly diagnosed cancer in the UK. It's the most commonly diagnosed cancer in women across the globe. So obviously did a bit of research before doing this meeting with Iyna, but I found some really interesting facts and stats. So some interesting facts are that men can get breast cancer, but it mainly affects women. Every year around 58,000 people are diagnosed with breast cancer in the UK. That's the equivalent of 159 people every day, or 7 people every hour, or 1 person in every 10 minutes is diagnosed with breast cancer. So of course this is such a commonly diagnosed cancer. And in 1 in 8 women in their lifetime will develop breast cancer. So it's obviously very important to discuss this. And there are many things that we can do to kind of reduce the risk of getting breast cancer. But the most important thing is really being able to detect those kind of signs and those symptoms early on. So it's really important to kind of learn about this. And of course, there's a lot of stigma attached to talking about breasts, especially with women, especially in the South Asian community. And the treatment can be grueling and have an emotional impact on our mental health. So really we're here to discuss all that. And today I'm joined by Iyna, who herself had breast cancer, and she also supports other women through breast cancer too. So welcome, Iyna. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Oh no, honestly, it's great because you've been through it, and it's great to kind of share that experience with them. So we'll just get right into it, really. Could you talk us through your experience with breast cancer?
Yeah, of course. So I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer when I was 30 years old in 2015. Goodness, feels like it's strange because it's kind of, when you look at the date and I think, wow, that was 5 years ago, that feels like a lifetime away. But at the same time, it doesn't feel like it was that long ago. It feels like it's still so real and it's not happened that long ago. Yeah, so I found my lump pretty much by accident. I'll be honest, I've never self-examined, I've never self-checked, never felt the need to be honest. I've always probably had the same mentality that I think I hear from a lot of women I speak to now. When I say to them, do you self-examine? Why would I? And I have the same attitude, Well, nobody in my family has cancer, and no one's ever had cancer. I don't know anybody who's had breast cancer or any other form of cancer. So what the risk of me getting it is literally non-existent.
Yeah.
So yeah, I never self-examined, and I had made a New Year's resolution and a commitment in January that, okay, Iyna, you're going to start working out, because you don't work out. You're very good with your food, but you don't work out. And you're getting a bit older. You've just turned 30, so come on, you need to kind of get into gear. And I did a home workout because at that time my son was only 4 years old. And my husband did nights, so I was very, very restricted with the times I could go to work and the gym, and I worked full time as well. So yeah, I made a commitment to start working out. I did that at home in January. I think it was the first week of Jan, and I had to clean up the house after, and I literally just grabbed a tissue and I thought, oh, I feel really sweaty and disgusting, and I grabbed a tissue and I kind of wiped under my bust. And when I did, I got something really hard. And I thought, okay, that's a little bit strange.
As you were wiping?
Yeah. As I was wiping, it's like it was sitting on the surface of my breast. And I felt something very hard. And I kind of stopped. And I thought, oh, that's odd. And I then kind of put the tissue down and kind of felt with my hands. And I basically literally felt a lump. And I always do this because it literally felt like a ball that I could grab. And I was able to indent into my breast and grab a ball. And I thought, okay, that doesn't seem right at all. And my husband was sleeping at that time because he had to wake up something silly like 4 in the to get to work.
Good night.
And I kind of woke him, 10, 11 o'clock at night must have been when I finished my workout after cleaning the house, putting the little one to sleep, the usual routine. I woke up my husband and I said, can you feel this? Am I going completely crazy? This is not right. it's not on my left breast, right? It's just on my right. And he said, he kind of woke up half dozed and he said, what are you doing? And I said, please tell me if this is like right. And he felt the lump and he said, and he literally woke up out of his bed and he said, wow, what in the world is that? And I said, I don't know. And he said, okay, look, don't panic. Just go to the doctors in the morning and see what it is. It's probably nothing.
Yeah.
Marsden's quite an abrupt, not abrupt, sorry, that's the wrong word to use. It's quite a hyperactive, you know, excitable child, and he's constantly jumping on you and banging his head around, and maybe he's hit you, and maybe that's what's caused it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, because we all think that, don't we? Oh, our kids knocked us in the breast, or our kids banged his head on us.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's just something that we think. And from then on, I'll be honest, it was just a whirlwind. And that was a Thursday morning. And that for Wednesday night when I found the lump. Thursday morning, I called the GP. They gave me an appointment straight away, an emergency appointment. I went to the GP. The doctor did the self-examination. She said, there's definitely a lump. I don't want you to panic because it could be benign. She goes, I'm going to book an appointment with the breast clinic in Windsor. They will give you an appointment within 1 to 2 weeks, and then you go then to do a mammogram. And I said, okay, fine. By Monday morning, that next week, I got a call from Windsor Clinic, the Parapet Breast Clinic, who said that they've got an appointment for me that day. I went in on that Monday, that afternoon, for an ultrasound. They did a mammogram, first. From a mammogram, they went to an ultrasound. From ultrasound, they went to a biopsy. They then did a double biopsy. And a week and 1 day later, the week after that, on a Tuesday, I was told I had breast cancer. So I'll be honest, within a week and 3 days, I had basically found a lump and diagnosed. And within 4 weeks after that, I had started chemotherapy.
Oh my gosh, it was so fast.
It was very quick, and it sounds crazy, but it's good and bad. And good in a sense, obviously, they didn't waste time. I had stage 3 breast cancer, and I was very, very fortunate that after they confirmed I had breast cancer, they did a bone scan, brain scan, all sorts, and they basically said I'm very, very fortunate that it hasn't spread anywhere else other than in my lymph nodes. So I was very, very fortunate in that sense. It could have been much worse. But the fact that it happened so quick, it didn't give me time to process what had happened.
Of course. I mean, it was literally a thing of just after a workout and then suddenly an appointment and then suddenly it's just one after the other.
And, you know, I was 30 years old, and the year before, so that was January, the year before that, my son in September started prep school, which I was really, really pleased with because we always wanted to put him into prep school, and we finally got to a point where we could do that. I had just started a new job in October. In November, we had just moved into a new place.
My gosh, going on before.
We had a lot going on in the last 4 or 5 months of the year before. And then, you know, the new year felt like an incredible year. You know, we were like, we're in the best place of our life right now. Husband's getting a new job. I've just been given a new job as part of my HR career. And my son's just got into prep school, and this is happening, new house. Oh, this is fantastic. You know, 2015 is going to be the best year of my life. And far from it. It was the worst year of my life, to be honest. It was a very, very difficult year. Very difficult.
I can imagine. That must have been shocking as well, because no one thinks it'll happen to them. You know, you hear about other people, or you might not.
And that's why people don't check. You know, that's exactly why people don't check, because they don't think it will ever happen to them. You don't do that because you think, well, it's not going to happen to me. Why am I going to check? But I think I'm a living example with no family history, being young. I was a healthy weight. I always ate healthy. I had no other kind of health conditions other than underactive thyroid, and no reason for me to ever get it. And I did. So,
what was your treatment like? What was that like going through? Was it chemotherapy that you had to go through?
It's gruesome, I'll be very honest. I had chemotherapy first, 6 rounds. Because the tumor was quite big, they said it was the size of a golf ball. Because of that, they felt it was risky to operate straight away. So what they did was they wanted to do chemotherapy first to shrink the tumour, and destroy as much cells that they possibly could before they go in and do surgery to save as much breast as they possibly could. Initially, they had told me that I would, so literally the first appointment with a surgeon was, you've got breast cancer, you need to right away this year. It's going to be taken up with appointment. You're going to lose your hair, you're going to lose your breasts, and make the most of the week that you feel well between your chemo sessions. And we're going to try to save your life, and that's ultimately our aim. But there was no guarantee. There was no, oh, I know, you're going to go through chemotherapy and surgery and radiotherapy and you'll be alive at the end of this. You're kind of fighting a battle that you don't know if you're going to win.
That is scary. That is scary.
So yeah,
it's so scary for you at the time.
It's very frightening. But I think maybe I'm not the only one. I think everybody does this. But I went into fight mode. I didn't cry when I got my diagnosis. I sat there and I said, okay, so what happens now? What do we do? What does this mean? I've got cancer. Okay, what do I do now? And it was only literally, I think, the next day and the week following that slowly in drips, actually somebody would mention it and I would start to cry. And then throughout my treatment, I don't think I barely ever cried, maybe once or twice. And I went into fight mode. I would see my son, who was only 4, and think, all right, you've got to, and I think I always say this, if you've got kids, you probably understand that children give you this real fighting chance at everything. They make you want to fight. They've got this incredible energy about them that they want to, they push you to fight, and that their face alone makes you want to fight, and they give you a reason to fight. And my son at the time did that.
He was 4 years old at the time. Did he understand? Yeah. Did you understand what was going on with Mummy? Did you understand? No. Did you ever try and explain, or was there anything, or was it just, oh, I'm going to the doctors,
I'll be honest, and in hindsight, I don't know if I made the right or wrong decision. I don't know. But at the time, I didn't tell him anything. I didn't explain anything. I just tried to hide it as much as I could. So, obviously, I had my first chemo session, and within 9 days, I had lost all my hair. And my hair used to be just below my bust. It was very long. And within 9 days, I had lost all my hair. And actually, nobody saw me without my hair. I even only saw myself once. The physical element of how cancer made me look, I really struggled with. I really, really struggled with, because I felt like the pain that I was going through, I could manage myself, and from people, but physically how I looked, the moment my hair fell out, I looked like a cancer patient. And that for me was so difficult emotionally, mentally to deal with. And that I kind of didn't want to even look at myself. If I went in for a shower, I would cover the mirror with a towel, because I couldn't bear to see myself with no hair on. I covered my head with a cap and then a headscarf on top, so that people wouldn't see. I even slept with a head cap on. So my husband actually never saw me either without my hair. Nobody saw me. My husband didn't see me. My son didn't see me. So he did ask me once, I remember when I was diagnosed, I started to do the scarf, and he said, Mummy, why are you wearing that scarf? And I said, well, baby, Mummy's getting bored of her hair, so I thought I'll try something new. And he didn't kind of question anything more than that. He was only 4. And that was the end of it.
That's quite nice, actually, because in a way, you kind of wish other people were like a 4-year-old and just kind of accept it and not
absolutely
or prodding questions about it, I suppose. It must have been nice to just be like, okay.
Wouldn't the world be so much simpler if people just did that question? But I think for me, I felt like I had to protect him. I felt like he was too young to understand what was happening. And the children that age watch TV and stuff, and they see adverts of people having cancer, and they see adverts of people dying. And I thought what I didn't want him to ever feel or think was that Mummy's dying. So actually, the best thing for me to do is to protect him and let his life carry on as normal as it possibly can. So he continued to go to school as normal. I used to have to take injections for 7 days after 3 days, sorry, after my chemotherapy session. And they caused a lot of bone pain. And after taking it during the day and really screaming in pain, I realized that my son could physically see me in pain and I absolutely hated it. So I started to change those injections and take them at nighttime so that he was asleep and he couldn't see me if I was in pain. So he never really knew, but actually now that he's much like 10 years old, when he sees a TV program now, he says to me, "Mummy, you had cancer, didn't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, Mummy did, but look, Mummy's fine."
Oh wow! So he knows, he does know.
So he registered it. He
Yeah.
just didn't understand it at the time.
Yes, yeah, and I think I totally get why you did that, because that's another thing. That's another thing added to everything else as well that you were going through at the time, especially with the loss of hair, and that. I mean, that must have been so difficult. I can't imagine how that.
You know what? I always say this to people: breast cancer, any cancer is bad, but breast cancer is a woman's worst nightmare. Everything that you link to your femininity is lost. Your breasts, your hair, your eyebrows, your eyelashes, you gain weight. Everything that you think about yourself as being female, being a woman, everything is suddenly lost. You know, and I was very, very independent. I've always worked. I've always looked after my son. I drive, I do everything that I need to do. And I suddenly lost all of that. I lost my independence completely. And I had to then start to rely on my family to look after me during chemo. And that on its own was difficult, you know?
Yeah, I can imagine.
So,
I mean, so how long so how long did your chemotherapy last, and when did you kind of go into kind of recovery?
So the treatment from start to end was 10 months long. Okay. I started in Feb and I didn't finish until end of October. That's about 10 months. 9 months long. And another thing I always say is that when your treatment finishes, you don't suddenly become the old Iyna, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you don't go back to normal.
No, life most definitely does not go back to the way it used to be. Everything changes. And I always say, once a cancer patient, always a cancer patient. And that sounds morbid, and I'm not trying to be morbid, but I'm saying that because I think it's a reality that a lot of people don't talk about. People don't talk about life post-cancer. They talk about life with cancer, but they don't talk about the effects of it has on your life afterwards. And it's had a major, you know, I'm 5 years on. I finished my treatment last year, October, 5 years ago. No, 2015. Yes, so this year, October, it will be 5 years. Next month, it'll be 5 years I finished my treatment plan. And I am due to go into surgery in 4 to 6 weeks for my ovaries, because I'm very high risk of ovarian cancer now because of the type of breast cancer I had. For the last 5 years, I have been on medication. I take injections every 4 weeks that I have to go into the hospital to get administered into my stomach, which are horrible because they absolutely bruise your stomach. I had mine about 10 days ago. My left side of my stomach is still sore and purple. I'm on medication. My bones are not the same. My bones are much weaker than what they used to be. My skin is not the same. I'm a lot more tired. I get a lot more tired. I don't have the same sort of energy levels as I used to, considering I work out at least 4 times a week. And I don't mean light, brisk walking. I'm saying I'm at the gym doing body combat and boxing classes and that sort of stuff. And still, I do not have the same fitness levels as I used to. My skin texture is not the same. Everything changes.
Has changed, and that's 5 years on. That's 5 years.
And that's 5 years on. And you know, this surgery for my ovaries is now going to prolong side effects and probably carry on a bit longer, because I'll be kicked into a forced menopause. You know, I'm going to be 36 next month, and a lot longer than what I probably would have on a natural process.
It's not just, you know, I guess, you know, it's very easy to just think, okay, they go through cancer, that's it. It's just that one their life, that one, maybe like you said, that 1 year, but actually that's not true at all, especially
and it's ongoing. And I think that's what's really important for people to understand, because I think the reason why Sukoon was set up was for that reason. You know, when I had cancer, you know, you have a lot of support people around you, not just your family and your friends, which were amazing. You have a lot of your doctors around. You have a breast care nurse who's there at your beck and call, more or less. Your oncologist, you're meeting them regularly. And soon as your kind of your bigger cancer plan is ended, your treatment plan, everything kind of drops a little bit. You have a few kind of 6 monthly or yearly meetup, and then everything just drops. So you don't have that support network there. I don't know if anybody else ever did, but every person that I've ever spoken to after my journey, nobody got any form of emotional or mental health or well-being support post-cancer. But your entire life changes, and there's nobody there to guide you through your new way of living. I will never be the same person I used to be. I think I'm a better version of me now, but I will never be who I used to be, you know? And who's there to guide you through that?
Say that again.
So,
I said that's a lot to take on, you know.
Yeah.
Mentally, that is a lot. And you're right, actually, because we don't think about mental health associated with cancer. We just think mental health is separate altogether, when actually they are linked. They are
they're so linked. They're so linked. And I think, you know, the NHS did an absolutely fantastic job during my treatment. I have absolutely no kind of issues or concerns. And I just think, and I think we really, the NHS are really not given enough due for what they do. And I'm not talking just stepping up in COVID world, where the world has gone, you know, pro NHS. And a month before COVID, we were kind of totally against NHS. And, you know, the NHS do an absolutely fantastic job. And I think, yeah, you know, sometimes they fall in places, like we all do with everything that happens in the world. But they do an incredible job. I think the one place that there's a lack, and I think that's with the mental health and the emotional well-being support that needs to be there for the patient and the families.
And
you know, that
I mean, that is great that you're addressing that, because that is such a big thing. And you're right, you know, this is, and it's for everyone else as well, because, you know, in my head, and I know I'm guilty of it too, just thinking, oh, okay, it's just chemotherapy during that time. You know, no one thinks about the after effects, like you said, and I think that's a really good point that you highlighted.
If you've been affected by any of the issues that we've discussed, there is help out there. There are resources and some websites that we've got linked down in the description box below. Thank you.